Whoa! I should have the money for... What the? Wait, already? Wait, what? I didn't even give them a... How do they do it that fast?
The Celeste Complete soundtrack for vinyl, originally pressed in 2021 by Ship to Shore Phone Co., made in collaboration with Fangamer, and numbered as their second official box set to date.
Alright, what's going on, Forgotten Nation? I'm your host, FG, and welcome back to Nerd Vinyl Hands-On Session, and part 4, the finale, of our Celeste vinyl coverage. Yeah, this one took me by absolute surprise. As a silent release at the end of 2021, I don't think anyone was expecting this to come out. Celeste is a full box set containing all the soundtracks that we've seen previously in the last 3 parts of this coverage. And the fact that it is in one of these definitive box sets is absolutely mind-blowing. But you're probably wondering, including me as someone who does have the 3 that came before it, is it really worth double dipping? What does this box set offer that I don't already have in my possession? Well, honestly, this is a lot more and then some. Even if just for the packaging alone, I feel like this is worth having in your collection. Let me go into a little more detail.
This isn't just a repackaging of soundtracks, as everything here is brand new. That even includes some new original artwork by Nina Matsumoto, the artist from the game and its promotional art, including the main game and Farewell soundtrack's art design. Its overall presentation is actually the same as Fangamer's own Undertale Complete vinyl set. Down to the same box design I actually consider the best for any vinyl release to follow. For this release, the outer box features Madeline holding a crystal heart, with a reflection of the mountain. The only soundtrack to feature her smiling, as a matter of fact. This artwork even continues off to the side and onto the back of the box to include an accented emblem of the mountain in silver foil, something we'll be seeing a lot of in this set.
For those that saw my video coverage of the Undertale Complete box sets, you'll know that easily it is my favorite in my collection just because of the way they went about the box. The idea that you can access the inner sleeves just because of the side mechanism being open, as opposed to having to physically open the box every time, which is still a problem that some of the sets I do have in my collection have. But what really makes this unique, especially when comparing to Undertale, is how it's able to capture everything that came before it. This is something I even said about Farewell with its album design, but the fact that we have front and center is Madeline and the mountain really captures what it means to have Celeste, but then going with the extra details such as how it goes to the back, and even the use of the foil, which in the light really does make it off like this rainbow look to it, makes this easily the definitive packaging of any of the Celeste vinyl sets. If not just for how beautiful it looks with the original artwork, that's just the outer box. Just wait to see what else this has to offer.
Just like the outer box, on each of the 6 inner sleeves, we have some new artwork featuring characters and scenarios from the game. The design's actually very different from what we've seen before with Celeste, and really does give it more of a personalized touch that's unique to Matsumoto's work. On the reverse side, to me, is actually the best part of this set. A plethora of composition notes from everyone involved in the soundtrack, including every B-side artist.
For many fans of Celeste, even those that may already have the previous vinyls in their collection, I do think that the biggest reason that they'll pick this up is because of the new original artwork by Matsumoto. Because of how distinct it is, it really does feel like something separate from the rest of the game, the promotional art, and even some of the advertising as well. The style that we have here is perfect to capture just what Matsumoto can do, as I mentioned earlier. But overall, it really is a real piece of eye candy. But what really sets it apart is also not just some of the icons from certain parts of the game, but the use of the foil as well. And not just on the main side, but even on the side with the composition notes. And I am so glad we have this many composition notes to boot. Again, the one that really did it the weakest was the B-sides, but the fact that they even went and got those artists to contribute some notes to the making of Celeste's soundtrack really shows the extra mile they were willing to go. If not just for these extra additions for the inner sleeves, I really do think this is the definitive set for any album in the Celeste collection. And you know, because I just love the composition notes so much, but even with the artwork too, I really do think that they went the extra mile. As a matter of fact, one of the album arts is actually a callback to the digital version of the B-sides, which actually has Madeline on the cover. If you look at the one we have here, that can't just be a coincidence. They knew what they were doing. But now let's talk about the music.
With a total of 61 tracks across 6 vinyls, this contains everything there is to Celeste and the vinyl albums we've covered before. The main game, the B-sides, and Farewell. Being unabridged, this set even includes the full version of Reach for the Summit, and the omitted song for the core, Heart of the Mountain, which I unfortunately failed to mention in the first part looking back at the main game soundtrack. Also up first for the turntable are actually bonus tracks originally part of Madeline's grab bag, which includes the 8-bit renditions of the main game's chapters when unlocking the B-sides. It also wouldn't be complete without including some special transitions that occurred during the game, such as when Madeline breaks out of the mirror. This really does contain everything in the game.
The version I have is actually from Ship to Shore Official, which means that we actually have a limited edition in my collection. This is a crystal clear splatter design featuring colors based on Madeline, Madeline, and Celeste Mountain respectively. Above all, I feel like this is a direct callback to the other soundtracks we've seen before, more specifically the B-side and even Farewell to an extent. Could they have done something a little more unique? Sure, I mean any soundtrack can. But overall, I do like how the colors they chose here do still reflect onto Celeste and the journey that Madeline goes through. It's just a little piece of the identity that is Celeste, so it does work. Overall, I think what we have here really is great, even for a crystal clear design. What really sets it apart though, is the other side, because each of the vinyls, with the exception of the last one, actually details the journey of a strawberry from inception as a flower all the way to the very end being split in half. Now the last one could have had a emblem with a strawberry pie, but that's just wishful thinking. Anyways though, because we have a crystal clear design, that actually brings me up to the next bonus that comes with this set. And that is a custom Slipmat that actually features the artwork used on the 6th inner sleeve, which is based on Madeline presenting the pie to her friends, based on the amount of strawberries collected in the game. My guess based on the artwork is that it's based on the best ending the game has to offer, though it still does look pretty unique all things considered. And because this is crystal clear during the samples, you'll see what it's like when you finally do have a clear vinyl and you use some custom artwork like it. Of course, I'll also use the backside to do some fair comparison points, so just to demonstrate what it's like to have a clear vinyl. Now, how about the quality of it? Well, being crystal clear, there's still gonna be some subject to pops and crackles, but nothing that we haven't already seen already. But what really makes this set unique is that every track has been remastered, which means in vinyl terms, they're more of a higher quality from what came before. So rather than just playing some more tracks like we've done before, because this is everything we've already covered and then some, I think the best way to go about the samples here is to do a direct comparison. So here's how it's gonna work. We're gonna play the complete soundtrack for 10 seconds, the original soundtrack for another 10, and then we'll have them side by side for the last 10. Because for those who don't know, my samples usually go for 30 seconds. So the best way to really gauge an opinion of the quality of this one compared to the originals is with a pair of headphones. So if you don't have them, I heavily recommend that for this next part, you do grab a pair. So I feel like what we have here is still something incredible, but how does it compare to the original soundtracks? Well, here's a comparison sample of the quality of the Celeste Complete box set. And then, because there was some extra stuff that didn't exist in the other soundtracks, here's a couple of samples of some unique tracks only found here in the Celeste Complete Box set. Before we get into my final thoughts of the set release, let's talk about a couple of gripes I have with it. There really isn't a whole lot, but there's only one major one that's with this version of the set, and that's because of the very last vinyl disc. Exclusive to the last side of the vinyl, there's actually a signature from Lena Raine, but because this is a crystal clear variant, you can't actually see it very well. I've tried, I put it under lights, but I just can't see it for the life of me. This actually isn't a problem with some of the later variants that will come out, especially the one coming out through Fangamer, which actually has some solid colored vinyls, which will be released actually very soon. At the time of recording, it's not out just yet, but I'm sure that it will be easier to see. But for this one, you just really can't see your signature. The other problem, actually, this is what I hope they'll fix later on, is that unlike the Undertale sets, the spines actually don't have any words on them, so you don't actually know which one you're getting until you pull it and you take a look at it. And honestly, it's a bit of a shame. I really do wish that they would have had some labeling on the side to know which one you were grabbing. Those are my only complaints with the set. So now let's go back to the very beginning of this part and really nail the question of, is this the definitive way of listening to Celeste? And more importantly, if you already have the first three, is it worth double dipping? So I've already talked about each of the Celeste soundtracks individually, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about them here. If you want to know more about it, be sure to check out the first three parts of this coverage. Overall though, I really do think this is the definitive way of listening to Celeste, and has become my go-to way of listening to it on the turntable as of recent. Now let's talk about it. As you've seen, this thing is the ultimate love letter from the creators to the fans, and does a lot here that you won't find in any of the other albums. For me, the biggest thing is the composition notes, but even with the artwork, the quality of the vinyls, or even its packaging above all, I think there is something unique here that anyone will find something to enjoy out of it. Quality-wise, I really do think that they are a higher quality compared to the original vinyls that came before it. But what really got to me was the fact that it is unabridged, meaning that we really do have the complete versions of the soundtracks here. More specifically, for the main soundtrack, what really bites is that it doesn't have the full version of Reach for the Summit or even Heart of the Mountain, but the fact that it's here absolutely replaces that one in my mind. So at the very least, the main soundtrack's out. For the B-sides and Farewell, it's really just a matter of opinion, all things considered. But overall, if you've seen anything with this set, I do think this is the best way to listen to them. So, what do I think of these three here? Well, I still love them for what they are. They offer something unique, and they were the first in the soundtrack collection of Celeste. I'll keep them for now, but eventually I may part away with them because we've found the new best way to listen to Celeste. So, if you have a turntable and you're a big fan of Celeste, or you want something new to listen to, this right here is the best way to listen to it. And with that, that's gonna end our hands-on session of Celeste complete. And that does it. That's all the soundtracks on vinyl there is to Celeste. Well, except for one, there actually is a piano rendition of some of the tracks from, I believe, the main game. But I'm not gonna look at that one because it's more of a remix album and not so much a connection to the actual music. But yeah, that really is everything there is to offer to Celeste on vinyl. And hey, it's been a long journey, but that's everything. So, if you want to see more videos like this, the best way to let me know is in the comments down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. And stay strong, everyone. No matter what you may be experiencing, remember that you are never alone. You will get through it.